Hey, how's it going? It's Matt here. I'm the CEO of Warrp and I'm the creator of ToastPunk. And what we're going to do today is a walkthrough of the Racer Club game, which we are so excited about. And if you're in the P2E space, as either a player, an investor, this is something you should consider. Okay, so hopefully you get to spend the next however much time I go through this white paper to have an in-depth look at it and find out what the key differences of what we are trying to build here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to present today, and hopefully you can assess it yourself and decide what to do. Okay, so first and foremost, Racer Club is a game by Warrp. Warrp is an Australian company. We are an agile tech software company. We've got teams in Australia and the rest of the world. And what we do is we come up with tech solutions typically. And this year we started to venture into the Web3 space. Ever since we launched our NFT projects last year, we sold one project out this year, a 10,000 NFT collection called ToastPunk Genesis. And this all stems from our roadmap 2.0. But we decided to call it Racer Club to keep it generic, keep it open to everyone, because what we found was with the pitfalls with P2E today is that many P2Es, they go for the big launch, they go for the big pump, and then the price drops. And the reason is because the player base, they lose the player base, they lose value in what they're providing back to the players. And it trickles off and the investors drop off as well. So the idea with this year is to build it from ground up, and I'm going to go through one by one and what we aim to do. Okay, so the approach we're taking is a bottom-up launch plan. Okay, in 3 phases. The first phase will be a game for our own collection, and what I mean by our own collection is ToastPunk Genesis. It's be called ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club, and I'll go through the naming methodologies a bit later as well. But phase 1 will just be for our holders. That's it. And in order for us to get the game out there, get our holders playing it, understand the tokenomics, understand how player retention works, and a few other things, and achieve success there for the stakeholders, and then move on to the next. Now, phase 2, and this is quite important. Okay, and I'm going through a bit of what we're aiming to do here. So we got a particular target audience we can go for. We are going to partner up with, or we're going to approach to partner up with the NFTX Vault collections. Now, NFTX, if you don't know, is a vaulted DeFi platform that hosts around about 400 plus over collections, 1.6 million holders of NFTs, and each individual vault has their own token. So for example, we have a vault there under ToastPunk Genesis. Our token is called TPGen. It's paired with ETH. People can add liquidity via Sushi Swap for the price for TPGen to go up. It's in essence, it's where all the non-rare NFTs sit for that collection, so that it protects the floor of OpenSea and other secondary marketplaces where the NFTs are sold, because that DeFi price, or that price of the Vault token, is what people can actually sell to the Vault for as well, with some fees. Okay, so it creates that arbitrage opportunity for traders, and therefore usually the price of the token is equivalent to the lowest floor price of that NFT collection. Okay, and the final phase is the crossover game series. So basically, once each and every NFTX Vault collection has come in and started their own game, and their players are playing it similar to how we are doing it in phase 1, we will then introduce a crossover game series. And why this is important is this, okay? The launch methodologies here would create, in essence, a sort of like a tournament or sort of a league mode game where in phase 3, if it's a crossover game where I'm from ToastPunk Genesis and someone else is a track out there for, say for example, CryptoPunks, okay, I can use my race car in their track and compete for punk tokens, okay, and I'll go through that in a second as well. Why is that important, and how you actually get to classify yourself up in the very top is by actually building value in your own game first in phase 2, and therefore qualifying to have your actual Racer Club series game or titled series game to be part of phase 3. So it's like if you look at football, it's like the Champions League. Okay, we're building individual games and teams, and eventually they all reach this top league where they play in each other's games and get each other's rewards. And that's when our R Club token comes in later on. Okay, and I'll go through it in a second what happens. So players of the game use their race car NFT equivalent to a race car with equivalent to race with other players for podium spots, top 3 wins. So that's what happens in phase 1 and phase 2. And when they win their native NFTX Vault token. Now this is important because there's no other new tokens created. And when there's no other new tokens created, you have scarcity. And when you have scarcity, you have better value in the tokens. Okay, so this is the point here. We don't want to create new tokens. We don't want to create new race cars. So even the race cars as well utilize the NFT equivalent of what they have. And I'll go through some examples of that in a second so you can see. Okay. And then finally in phase 3, you'll be for the R Club tokens. But the other thing we also attempt to get an advantage of with the game is when they get rewarded with their wins, it automatically goes into a staking pool. So whether it's phase 1 or phase 2, it goes straight into the staking pool, gets locked up for 7 days. So therefore, more of the rewards get locked up. Now, from a player point of view, that's awesome because they earn APR during that period from the fees, and I'll go through the tokenomics of that in a second as well. And from a token value point of view, it's good as well because you got more holders in the token, therefore allowing for the price to sort of uplift itself. Okay. The game operates in the pack store purchases, so all the packs that they buy in the pack store actually it's really cool because every time they spend money in the pack store, it adds liquidity to their own Vault token. So once again, brings up the value there. And that's the tokens. So it goes either via ETH to their Vault token, and then the Vault tokens used in the game to reward the players, or either they can use the Vault token to actually buy those packs as well. Once again, it helps and assists the value proposition for those tokens itself, or their own tokens. Okay. Each title series game will have their own in-game pack store, so will have their own thing, as I said before, will contribute their own NFTX Vault liquidity pool. The crossover series will have its pack store. Now, we have not fully decided whether it's going to be a pack store for the R Club or whether we'll just focus R Club at the marketplace side, and I'll go through that in a second as well. So Warrp intends to build a game from a bottom-up approach, and this is where we think we're going to be different to a lot of the other P2E games. So we're not going to have a massive launch. We're going to have a startup launch, okay? We're going to build up, we're going to build value in the players, build their rewards up, and allow them to continually use the game and adapt alongside as the various other platforms are allowed. As we know, Web3 only right now you can use on mobile, you can use on PC, most likely PC, even iOS still doesn't allow you to download apps for games. And later on, we'll move into stream and the likes of consoles, Xbox, Nintendo, all of that. But it all depends on their platforms whether they're going to allow Web3. And sooner rather than later, I'm pretty sure they will. Okay, but for now, it's Windows, which is PC, and mobile. And that's fine because that's where most of the NFT and crypto guys spend their time anyway. Okay, they have no more time to play games on regular consoles like myself. Used to be a massive FIFA fan. Playing on Xbox, but ever since NFTs came into my life, I have no chance at all playing any console games. So the idea is once a strong base of players and a string of title series games are formed, Warrp will then launch the crossover series game, and that will be together with the R Club token, which essentially allows then for a wider reach of investors to come in, typically to how your normal P2E games come in with launches. However, the benefit here is that we already have an operational game, we already have a player base, and we know that the solid base of the R Club token to launch up will be fantastic. Okay. In the white paper as well, I go through the bottom-up methodology, which is what I kind of actually went through just then. But the two key reasons we do this for is to ensure that we have a foundational player base. Okay, so we got a better retention. In Web 3 games in particular, everyone's jumping from one to the other. It's actually, in fact, the same with Web 2 games, per our discussions with a few other key developers there. And the other second point is to ensure that the game dynamics, so how it works internally in the games, the rewards, the tokenomics, meets the satisfaction of players and other stakeholders. So, the essence is to keep building and having a sustainable platform where you can keep scaling up, okay? And I'll mention a bit about the scaling up and how we do that, because it's really cool. This game can go out of control, basically, as in, it can keep on building up and up with different levels, and things like that. But for a starting point of view, we want to keep it simple. And just while I'm here, one of the things I want to touch base is why we thought of a car racing game instead of a battle game or an RPG game or a strategy game or puzzle game or something like that, is because a racing car game is quite simple. We know there's a starting point, there's a finishing point. We know how to ensure that players can game them by adding attributes and things like that. And there's top 3 spots. It's just nice and easy for everyone to understand. And it actually can be really, really fun and interesting if we introduce new levels, new title series games with other collections, and it just creates the excitement all the way through. It's like Mario Kart on steroids, so to speak, like with all the different levels and that sort of stuff. So that's what if you envision that, that's where it's going to head. It's like I called it the Mario Kart meets Champions League soccer kind of thing, so it can really, really go really big depending on how we want to take it, okay? Now, the reason why we chose NFTX native Vault tokens versus either offering our own tokens up front or using some other platform is because with NFTX, they've built a really, really cool platform where, as I said earlier on, it creates that spirit of, if I'm going to stake my NFTs, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to drop only my lowest rare ones. So you're not going to find all the rare ones in the vault. Typically, you're going to find the ones that are normally would sit on the floor. So instead of it sitting on the floor in OpenSea, it will sit in the NFTX Vault. While they're there, they can stake them, they can earn APR, but also people can buy, sell, swap, and earn from the vault as well. So it's really cool as in their own holders. And obviously on top of that, sushi swap, nice and easy. You can add liquidity to the pool, brings up the value. So I really like that. And talking to the NFTX guys, we know that there's plenty of opportunities that can enhance the collections on there for other use. So one of the things when I started a Vault token, TP ToastPunk Genesis token, there was how else can I provide utility to my token? Okay. And this here, what we are providing with the Racer Club game is allowing for this. Essentially, we are allowing now for people or collection owners to have an added utility for their token in their vault and also for their NFT as well. So it's we know plenty of collections out there have their own roadmaps, which is fine. This is like an add-on roadmap or add-on utility to their NFT, which who's going to say no to be able to increase value in the NFT and increase value in their token, especially if they're using NFTX, okay? The roadmap is a pretty tight one. We just broke it down to 3 quarters, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is like working on a really, really, really tight schedule, okay? So we've already done the definition of the game. We started the game developments as far as the 3D art, scoping, etc. All that's concerned. We'll do in May the test and launch for Genesis Racer Club. The demo and the preview will come out then. June, we will release the game, get feedback, see whether we can add new levels. And we've got even a test on how we can add new levels. And then once we're satisfied with phase 1, which is our own game or our own version, ToastPunk Genesis holders in Racer Club, then we'll open it up to phase 2. It could happen fast enough. It all depends on, obviously what we're intending to do. Right now, we are fully funded by ourselves from our own projects and also from ourselves. But, we're obviously open to investment if anyone out there is interested to boost us and get us up there quicker and faster. And we know we're talking to a few VCs right now. And we're talking to a few other people in the space that are very, very keen. We're just waiting for feedback and we're going to follow through accordingly, okay? So as far as the team is concerned, a company is called Warrp. So we're in Australia. We won, but we were recognized as the number 19 top Australian startups to watch in 2020 Okay, and that was only touching base on our Web 2 stuff, so we haven't introduced Web 3 things to it yet, which in the Web 3 side, I know we are kicking ass as far as what we're doing with our projects, with our collaborations, and where we're heading. And you know, in February we got recognized as the best newcomer in Victoria under the sector for innovation and success. So that's really cool. That's a picture of me. That's me. I'm Matt. So I got my LinkedIn link there. You can go and check me out. Roman, who's our CTO, so he's our co-founder and CTO. He handles all the tech matters, all the tech teams, all the security elements, everything of what we do as far as tech is concerned. He's got a really good background. I've known him for long, like 15 years plus, and we always work together on small to big projects in various senses. And we built things for the government, we built things for large corporates, public listed companies, mainly in the application software sort of side of things. Vince is also a co-founder of our business. Many of you might have heard him in our AMAs and a few other things. He's the money man, so he makes sure that the checks and balances are there. He deals with all the M&A material, the legal framework with what we're doing, copyrights, branding, everything. So that's what he does. And we got a bunch of other managers and a few other things, but these are the key people of the business right now. Later on, investors can actually go to this page and find out how they can actually invest. So from our point of view, you can invest in the ToastPunk OG collection, which will form part of the DAO later on. Not Racer Club, but just the ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club game. And then you can obviously jump into collection 2, which is ToastPunk Genesis, the one we sold out. And maybe going by sweeping the floor, which is not much at all. Like right now, we are working towards our 1 ETH floor target. We know we can get there with the amount of holder stats that we've got. 99% are holding, so it's a really good time to come in if you can. And then for other token investors, if you want, you can obviously back the TPGen token, which increases the liquidity pool. But for now, this is the small scenarios we've got. We've got some equity investors, but we only try to define them back to Australian residents or trusts. We have moved on past our seed and we're into our early stage round. But it is it's by invite only, so we got to make sure that the right investors come on board as far as the equity investors are concerned. But that's open up as well. You can email Vince at Warrp for more information if you need. Now let's get into phase 1, which is I said earlier on, it's all part of the whole growth plan. But this is ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club. So if you look at it, we called it Racer Club, and in phase 2 later, you will see that when we onboard these other NFTX collections, essentially they can name themselves, for example, if they are Meebits, they can call themselves Meebits Racer Club, or they can call, or if they are, Milady, they can call themselves Milady Racer Club, or even MAYC, they can call themselves MAYC Racer Club, etc., etc. CryptoPunks Racer Club, for instance. So phase 1 is for us. Every game will need to define between, I would say, 8 to 10 race cars, and these are the base race cars that relate to the PFPs of that particular collection. Okay, so in our terms, we have ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club has 10 characters. I'm going to skip a bit here so you can see. So we have 10 characters. We've got Tom Ape, Chuckle Jerry, Tails Mon, Sonic Pro. These are 10 characters in a whole 10,000 collection, and then they're extrapolated out with different traits, etc. So we now can have 10 different race cars that are based on these 10 characters, okay, to start off with, okay? And each character, we can formulate them into 3D characters in the game, as you can see on the screenshot right now. So going back here, we've chosen our 10 characters. Each of those 10 characters will have 5 main game attributes. I mean, it's going to be, keep it simple here, okay? It's not going to be too convoluted, okay? So it's going to be top speed, how fast they can drive at the top end, acceleration, how fast they pick up, handling, how well they take corners, strength, how well they can take a bump from another player in the game. So if they're stronger than the other racer bumping them, then they won't decrease the acceleration that much. They'll keep going. And the final one is energy, and the energy is quite simple. Energy is basically Based on the energy bar, it allows them how many games they can play competitively for the rewards. Okay. There's also another mode which is free to play mode. You can go in there and trial games, which doesn't cost energy or anything like that. But when you're starting to race, you lose 1 energy bar every time you race. Okay. The other stats, they stay. In fact, they might grow up later on, and you can actually temporarily boost them as well through the packs. But we'll show them we'll show what you can do with them later on. But yeah, energy is the critical formula of how the game keeps bringing in basically new tokens in for the game, so that we can provide more rewards. And I'll go through some tokenomics later, and I'll go through some examples of how we reward people in the game to earn good money, in essence better than a lot of the other P2E games, so that we get better retention, etc. I said early on, players can buy booster packs. You can read through all of this here. The idea is to introduce one level first, so one racetrack first, called the kitchen, because kitchen is relative to what we do in ToastPunk. We're a food NFT. Someone else might have something else, but we'll start off with the kitchen. We'll design a kitchen track, so it'll be the whole, the whole track will look like a kitchen, and you'll be racing in the kitchen. And then once we're satisfied with the reward, the income or the pack purchases coming through, and we know that we can service the rewards, then we introduce newer levels. And I'll go through that in a second as well. This is how the evolution of the game works really, really well. So top 3 players are rewarded rewards. Right now we've done some calculations based on what is coming in. I'll go through that in a second. But top 3 gets rewards. We also will reward every single other player that plays the game and races a game. There's actually a nominal reward that they get. And the reason why we put that there is so that, doesn't matter whether you get top 3 or not, the more you play, you actually will get some rewards. And instantly those rewards are locked up for 7 days, so it keeps that locked up in there. They earn APR based on what's happening in the game. And then after that, they can pull those tokens out and either use them back in the pack store or either convert them back to ETH. Okay. I've addressed all the main player benefits here, what they can do. But the idea is to essentially be able to race with their own PFP character that is linked to it, get the top 3 spots for higher TPGen token rewards, complete a race, and also be rewarded with TPGen token participation rewards. Practice in single player mode, spectate. So this is really cool. So you can actually, while you're waiting in the lobby for a race to finish, you can actually go in the game, have a look at it. Stake the TP gens as soon as you win the game for APR rewards. Temporarily boost the booster packs, using booster packs. Temporarily boost your attributes, your top speed, acceleration, handling, strength. Permanently increase, so the more you play, you might be able to rank up and get extra attributes later on added straight away. We support the native NFTX Vault, so it's instant plugin for a game like ours to come in. You don't have to create a new token at all. We'll introduce jackpots and stuff like that later on. Logins, play weekly for free, in-game pack opening and things like that. So yeah, plenty of good things happening for players there, benefits for players there. We're doing it 3D with Unity. For ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club, it will be TP-Gen. Chain will be Ethereum. The devices I mentioned before, we're going to go to the 3 main ones. Genre racing. Now, the play to earn requirements is pretty cool. You can actually either own a ToastPunk Genesis NFT to play, so you'll link it once you come in game, or you can purchase a rental pack from the pack store and pick. And this is where I like the NFTX mode, right? Because as I said early on, NFTX will only have the low rarity ones, which typically will mean the cars that are not as fast, maybe. Okay, you can call that. So when they rent, they'll pick one of those base ones to go in the game and try their best. Okay, but eventually it will lead them to actually buying an NFT from the collection itself. Okay, because if they like the game a lot, they try the game a lot, they try the rewards, they like it really so much that they're going to go for the good ones. Okay, and that's how we create a bit of demand as well for the NFTs in store. For the collections. These are just some samples of the pack store. So I said earlier on the rental pack. Once again, the prices is not fully determined yet. This is something that we put up based on the economics of the game. So they can they buy a pack. They go to the NFTX Vault. They have a look at which NFT they want to rent. Okay, so it's not a loan per se; it's a rent. Okay, they pick that. It links it in the game. And they can play 5 games with that there because each health bar only has 5 maximum characters, and then they can either boost it again and go back and rent another one. Up to them, depends on. It's all the strategic elements of how they can play the game, the gaming of the game, basically. 3 main packs they can buy. The basic booster pack, which comes with the boosters. One of them is a guaranteed energy booster. Intermediate, 6 boosters you get with this intermediate pack. 2 of them is guaranteed energy. Competitive booster packs, 15 boosters, 5 of them guaranteed energy. Now what you get with the other boosters is this. Basically it could be either a +1, I set it down here, a +1 or a +2 for either of the other attributes, so the top speed, acceleration, etc. So it's randomized. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get something good, you might get something 1 or 2. Either way, you can apply them to the car either while waiting in the lobby or either in the game itself. If you're ready to catch up with someone, you add that boost to it and get it. But once you've completed the race, those boosters finish up and you have to buy more to actually apply them again. Okay. And finally, the energy booster pack, which is the main driver of the whole game. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much from a pack store point of view what will happen. None of these are NFTs. Okay, they're all just in-game assets. Okay, we decided not to go with NFTs because for the simple reason we don't want to create too many NFTs out there. Okay, we don't create too many opportunities for NFTs, and it kind of convolutes the whole thing. As I said, we're going to trial the phase 1. If phase 1 says we need NFTs, then it could become NFTs, these things. Okay, but from where we are forecasting, we don't think we need that at all. Now, the marketplace is pretty cool because you got OpenSea, you've got LooksRare as well, but you don't have a particular marketplace where you can see the NFT and know what stats it has, and also know what the car looks like, maybe. Okay, so this is where the TGRC marketplace comes in. Everyone will have their own marketplace that they go through. There's a 5% fee that gets charged per transaction. So people can actually list their item if they want to. Once it sells, that 5% fee is not for us, not for Warrp, not for anything. It goes to the pool, the tokenomics pool of that game. Okay, and maybe I'll just skip through that because marketplace is kind of like, we all know it's going to be a place where people can buy and sell the NFTs and on secondary, similar to OpenSea, but with more detail on what that NFT attachment is to the game. Okay, their stats, their look, whether they've got any boost on there that has been saved, so you can actually buy that with all those boosts added to it already, what their health bar is, so if someone might have run them down to 0, you're like, I don't want to buy this, or someone might have added them to 5, which is the maximum, and then you want to buy that to play in game straight away, etc. Okay, so it's just a more detailed marketplace where people can see and buy those NFTs. Tokenomics, so this is really cool. This is every game, every Racer Club series game will be able to design their own tokenomics inside or set it up. Okay, for the ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club, we've set it up this way. So essentially, as I said earlier on, the marketplace, anything 5% fees for marketplace all go into this whole pool. Okay, and then it gets split out accordingly. The liquidity pool, I mean. Similar with the packs that were bought earlier on, I said the packs, all these packs were bought, so they actually utilize TP Gen tokens. So people can either use, so they come in with ETH, but what happens with the ETH is it gets sushi swapped into TP Gen tokens. The ETH goes into the liquidity pool of TP Gen tokens. The TP Gen comes in on the contract as the utility, as the utilization for the tokenomics in the game. Okay, so everything uses TP Gen token in ToastPunk Genesis Racer Pack Store. Similar to if they were CryptoPunks, we use Punk token in their own game. Okay, and for the tokenomics, this is what we decided for ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club. So 50%, so half of it goes straight to the rewards. Okay, so say for example 20 grand comes in the pack stock purchases and the marketplace fees per day, 10 grand goes straight to the in-game rewards. Okay, and I'll show you what we've done as far as the economy analysis and modeling of how that will work and how it keeps sustainability in the game. And 50% is actually a good mark. Okay, 15% for staking, so those that actually won those rewards and get paid APR yields. This comes from here, 15% here. 15% is reserved for the ToastPunk OG DAO. So this is the collection owner DAO, okay, which is essentially will form from all the original holders of NFTs from ToastPunk. Every collection will have their own way of their own DAO or their own purpose or whatever, but their own game will make their own 15% there, okay? 15% is reserved for marketing and dev spend. So this is a Warrp thing, okay? This is where Warrp comes in. And why we've put it at 15% is because we obviously continue and intend to develop the game bigger and wider and better, okay? And there'll be so much more to do with it, okay? So this will contribute towards those funds there to help develop and expand the game up, okay? Because it all works on our SDK architecture. Our SDK architecture always got to be updated, right? Version updates, introduction of new things, enhancements. You know, it could be all of a sudden Xbox says, yep, we accept Web3. Now, who's going to spend money to build that? Not the collection, not anyone else. This is where these funds come into place. Similarly with marketing, we might do some in real life marketing with, you know, football clubs, influencers, race clubs, anything at all. This is where this comes in, and that's where the spend comes in. Okay, 5% we reserve for our royalties. So basically, you know, for the game, for creating the game, for creating this whole opportunity for everyone to come in and play, we've put down a 5% pool that is for the Racer Club royalty, basically. Okay, and that will sort of link later on with the Racer Club DAO and how that works. So the main DAO of the whole Racer Club as well will be able to stand a chance to benefit from all the even the invest later to be able to benefit from whatever comes up in phase 1 and phase 2. Okay, and they're going to be making a massive decisions on how the whole future of this game works. So I think this is a small token to provide in. But as I said earlier on, you know, in phase 2 later, and I'll explain in the settings page, everyone can set up their own way of how to do it. All we ask is that, you know, this 20% balance here, this 15%, and then 5%, it could be negotiated, you know, based on per game. So that, you know, if CryptoPunks comes on board, which is owned by Yuga Labs, okay, they might say, hey, you know, we've got, you know, our own span on devs are going to do it, and etc. I'm going to help contribute that way. Fine, we're going to join the Racer Club DAO as well. Then, you know, we will downsize this portion there, therefore giving them ability to either give it back to their own DAO or either giving it to more in-game rewards, for example, to give them more rewards back to their players. Okay, so this is the Tokenomics design. I've added some Dune Analytics contracts on this page as well. If you want to check out for ToastPunk Genesis or TPGen token. As I said earlier on, the all race cars will be like PFP based. So they're not going to be Lamborghinis, they're not going to be Ferraris, they're going to be something that is in real life that you can see and you know, touch like normally. Okay, these are going to be characters that are part of your PFP. Okay, and this is why one of the many reasons why I think this game will be brilliant, because you know, you're going to have a massive game, but it's not going to be on Ferraris and Lamborghinis. It's going to be on your own PFP. It could be Port Apes, it could be Mutant Ape Yacht Clubs, it could be, you know, Meebits, it could be whatever. Okay, and this is where I think the relatability of Web3 comes into play. You're not building a Web2 game. We're not building a Grand Theft Auto or a Need for Speed or a Formula 1 race game. We are building a Web3 game. And Web3 games come with people behind the scenes that wanting to use their PFP. So that's how we've done it. And that's the settings that we've stipulated for our own characters. So as you can see, some will have higher top speed. Some will have low acceleration, high acceleration, handling, you know, strength, you know, if you're like Shreko, which is a big dude, you get stronger strength. You know, if you're, you know, Pikapuko, which is a small dude, you might get lesser strength. Everyone has the same 5 energy to start with, so it's 1-to-5 ratio on 1-to-5 stats bar per attribute here. Okay, and that's what we've designed so far for ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club. Once again, everyone sets themselves up accordingly their own way. Now the race experience, so we've got single player free to play, so people can play for free. Doesn't use anything. It's just for them to understand the tracks, understand how the car handles, and try them out. You play against AI. You might play against some other multiplayer, but we haven't got that functionality built yet. We want to just make it AI, so it's nice and easy for the free to play single player. But multiplayer play to win, this is where you're competing. This is where you're gonna, you know, you're all gonna wait in the competitors lounge. You know, once a minimum of 8 players are there, you can start the race. Or once a maximum of 15 players are there, you can start the race and you can go for it. And the top 3 wins. Everyone else wins just the normal sort of rewards, but the top 3 wins the better rewards. Okay, we're introducing level 1, the kitchen, I said earlier on. I'm going to go through this a bit here as well, because in the next slide we're going to talk about the economy. But how the reward works is this. Okay, we've done an allocation. So this is what players don't pay this. Okay, players don't pay the $8 per player. Okay, but this is the rough allocation we've done on the economy to understand the balancing of the incoming, which is through the pack rewards and the marketplace fees, and the outgoings, which is what people are taking out of the game. Okay, ultimately, and I know this word is used commonly in the P2E space, it is a Ponzi. Okay, but if the Ponzi design is there to work in effect for better rewards for the players, better backing for the player, and better retention, it is a great Ponzi, and it'll work very well for the game. Okay, unlike Web 2 games, they don't have to worry about the outs; they only worry about the ins all the time. In Web 3 games, you have to worry about both in and out, and how do we balance that out to make sure that the value doesn't drop for the main tokens that are used, the value doesn't drop for the NFTs, and the player base doesn't drop. So the idea is to keep building and keep them coming back. Okay, so $8 per player as a rough allocation in the pool for that particular race. On average, say there's 10 players completing, so it'll be a total prize pool of $80. Say we allocate first place winner gets 40, second place gets 25, and third place gets 15, and all other players receive $2. That will be a standard definition of how a race plays in level 1. Okay, in level 1. Note that I said level 1 because there's ways how we can introduce new levels, and the rewards instead of 8 becomes 10, and things like that. I'll go through that in a second once we talk about the economy in the next slide. Health and booster strategy, so people can actually use their own strategy and how they want to boost. As I said earlier on, they can boost either in the game, they can either boost before the game, and they can sort of play with other players' minds and things like that and try to see how they're going to win the race, right? But always, every time a race is completed, they lose 1 health bar, and they need to replenish that. Okay, so that's how we work out the incomings and the health balancing actually of the economy of the game. Okay, as I said, next page, I'll go through that in a second. Permanent attribute upgrades through ranks. So this is where the NFT that they hold itself can actually build up value, because the more race experience they got, the more games they play, the more top 3 wins they get, the more top 1 wins they get. There is opportunities for ranking up, and when you rank up, you get a permanent +1s and +2s across the attributes, which gives them more value than NFT, which means that they can sell that NFT to another person, and that other new person that bought that NFT will start off at a better attribute ranking, and that's how you can create your own NFT value up. Instead of just creating new NFTs all the time, it's actually focused at what you hold, and that's really cool about that as well. So that's what I talk about, growing the value of the NFT assets. Feel free to read this yourself. So this is the economy study of the whole game. Okay, and we've done a study on the rewards to packs store ratio, which is essentially what comes in and what has to go out. Okay, as far as rewards. Just skipping across this, and you guys can go into this more detail later on if you want to. The summary is this: we worked out that about $20,000 only in pack store purchases and marketplace fees, say put together, all up together, okay, say it works out to 20,000. That will suffice a continuous 24-hour race competition for ToastPunk Genesis Racer Club. Okay, and how we've done that is simple as this. We've just worked out backwards. So, say for example, each race is 15 minutes. Okay, including the wait time in the lobby. Okay, and the race itself. What that means is, in one day, 24 hours, say you got 15 minutes in that 24 hours, you can do 96 races in the whole day. That's simultaneously. So that's one race after, sorry, not simultaneously, that's one race after the other. Okay, so it's one race starts, it ends, the next race starts, etc. Okay, so this is just one race after the other. So 96 in total. Okay, now if we got 20,000 coming in, and based on the tokenomics of the game, where you have 50% going to in-game rewards, so that's 10,000 going back to the players. Okay, what that means is, if you split that up in 10,000, okay, and based on the payout of that $80 we had earlier on, which is first prize 40, second prize 25, and third prize 15, assuming an average of 10 races per game, so assuming 96 times 10 races in there, paying out this amount, and paying still $2 per player out there, the total comes up to just under the 10,000 mark. Okay, so it works out to be, I think, where did I put it here? 99,600. Okay, which is under the 10,000, which means that 20,000 will suffice. 20,000 in-game rewards plus with the 50% for the in-game rewards will be suffice for the game to run without any problems whatsoever. Okay, as in 96 races can be played. There's enough rewards coming in. Everyone's happy. Everyone's going on, and that's great. Okay. Now, if that drops under 20,000, then essentially what will happen is when people wait in the lobby, they'll see something saying, "Oh, okay, you've got to wait a bit longer because either more packs need to be bought or something." So the game, the race can't start until we know that there's more enough going in there, and that's where the liquidity portion of the NFTX works really well, because we can essentially, the collection owner can actually go out there and buy TPGen tokens and add TPGen tokens to the rewards pool to get the game started. So if they need a bit of kickstart, they can do it that way as well. Now, on the flip side, if there's a lot of packs being bought, so more than 20,000 being bought inside, and therefore the distribution of tokenomics is high, okay, and you've surpassed the mark of that one after the other race, 15 minutes, what people can do then is they can run simultaneous races. Okay, so now instead of having one wait in the lobby, start a race, wait till that race finishes, and then start a new one, they can run actually simultaneous. That's if they have only one level. Okay, but on the other token, they can introduce more levels. They can introduce level 2, okay, level 3, and level 2 will have more. Instead of allocating $8 per racer, it might be $10 per racer, and therefore the rewards first, second, third, and the consolation will be bigger. Okay, so do you get where I'm here with the evolution of each game? It really depends on the own collection themselves and the own players of the game. If they're buying more packs and they're adding more to everything there and growing their own game up more and more and more, which is increasing their token value, increasing their NFT value, getting their holders excited, more holders if that happens more and more for them, they can introduce more levels, and therefore once again create more retention in the whole game itself. So the evolutionary flow of this has been really well thought out, I think, from our gaming perspective, and I think the opportunities are endless with this here. Okay, I showed some screenshots early on, so these are some of the 3D model that we make in the game. That's a sort of how we would like the game to be seen in the game. And those are the 10 things there. There's no demo right now. The demo will be coming up. We're building that, and then that's where everyone can start to play and check it out. But in short, that's what the Racer Club series game is. Okay, so in a nutshell, people will have their own Racer Club series title series games. Okay, and then maybe I'll touch base in that in phase 2. Okay, so phase 2 is once we've satisfied phase 1, we know that okay, this game is great. People are playing it. The economy is growing. The rewards are growing. The NFT prices are going. The token value is going up. Everything's fine. We know that this is a massive opportunity for other NFTX Vault owners to come on board and start, getting themselves involved and creating their own games or their own Racer Club game, which is using the same framework, same SDK architecture, and also their own tokenomic setup. The only difference is that it will be their 3D PFPs, their 3D racetrack. Okay, and that's why we aim with that SDK structure. Okay, so phase 2 we'll have a bunch of people going out, including myself, going out there and speaking to all these other vault owners. Okay, and we've got 400 plus over them, major collections, smaller, bigger ones, whatever. But I named some of them here: CryptoPunks, BAYC, which is MAYC, Doodles, Cool Cats, World of Women, etc. All got their own native vault tokens, all got their own NFTs in there, and all are doing really, really well. Okay, so this is just to give them. We'll go out there with our team. And we'll tell them, say they can have their own Racer Club game. This is what they got to do. It could be the cost of, say for example, they don't have 3D artists to do the characters. It could be, a cost of maybe $5,000 or something per character. So if they have 8 characters, it could be 40 grand, and each level might be 10 grand or something like that. They build whatever it is. Either way, we know for a fact that for them building their own game versus, creating 3D assets to plug into our game is much more effective and efficient, okay? Because we're already running the game. We already got that platform. We are going to continue, Racer Club DAO is going to continually update the game with different versions. We're going to worry about all that developmental stuff. All they're going to worry about is telling their holders, saying, hey, we've got a racing game to play, and let's prepare, because phase 3 is coming, and we want to be, top of the Champions League in phase 3, which is basically that crossover metaverse game, okay? So that's as simple as that. When they get onboarded, they'll come up with their own title series name, CryptoPunks, Usually we end with Racer Club, so it's CryptoPunks Racer Club. Now the number of race cars, as I said earlier on, 8 to 10, just the ones that will link back to all the entire rest of the collection. So they might have some 1-in-1 series base characters that they will use as that. They might have created some names for them already. Who knows? There's a lot of the collections today have that elements there already, which is pretty cool. Race card default attributes. So once how we came up with our top speed, acceleration, handling, and strength. They need to come up with their own as well. So it just follows that format. We're not adding any other attributes at all. It's going to follow that 4 base format there, and the same bar levels and everything. So it keeps it nice and consistent. Then they confirm their race car 3D graphics. They confirm their track graphics. They can confirm their race track level settings. So if they're introducing new levels like level 1, level 2, level 3, which one is it? And obviously they set up their tokenomics. They set up their pack prizes, which once again will be same packs, but in their own form. And when people pay that, it goes to their Vault token, and their price settings as well. Okay. Now they can themselves game it so that they will give more back to their holders, or less back to their holders, or more back to themselves, or whatever. It's entirely up to them how they want to set this up. Okay, for the success of their own game, and essentially the success of their ranking to get into phase 3. Okay, and I'll mention a bit about that in a second. So testing and launch. Once they've done everything, we'll test and launch the game for them. We'll launch it up, and they'll have that there. And everything goes back to the Racer Club DAO management, security, support services, everything. They'll manage all of that there and make sure that happens. Obviously, in assistance with Warrp, we'll be there for them as the developers. But yeah, Racer Club DAO will be the main direction of it. Now, I did not mention much about this here. But the R Club token is something which we have not gone into full detail about yet. But I want to talk a bit about the Racer Club crossover game. Okay, so in essence, what we're trying to build here is a metaverse where people from different title series games, people from CryptoPunks, BAYC, Doodles, Cool Cats, World of Woman, us, whoever it is, we can actually, like in these games right now, in phase 2 anyhow, I can't bring a ToastPunk race car, ToastPunk Genesis race car into CryptoPunks and play in their racetracks. I can't do that. That doesn't work in phase 2 because it's their own game. If I want to play in the CryptoPunks Racer Club series, I have to rent a CryptoPunks Racer Club or own a CryptoPunks NFT to go in there and play. Phase 3 is about crossing over. It's about the best of the best crossing over. So if you think about Champions League, you think about home and away games, you think about all that sort of stuff. This is what we're aiming to create. We're aiming to create, once we've built this 1.4, 1.6 million, 1.8 million player base in the whole phase 2, we now can launch a massive league, a massive metaverse crossover league where everyone goes inside, and I can come into CryptoPunks as ToastPunk Genesis Race Club because I'm merited to do so. I've qualified to do so. I'm the top 100 or whatever it might be, and they got the top 100 tracks in there. I can go in there and start to compete for Punk rewards. Okay, so now I'm become fractional owners of CryptoPunks, things like that beforehand. And I started flex with them a bit with my own ToastPunk Genesis car, and they can come into mine as well and do the same, etc., etc. So the evolution of the game is there in order for us to grow this and to keep on getting it bigger and bigger. Now, the opportunities for Racer Club, okay, as a token. This is what I'm thinking, and this is just ideas for now, and this is open up. But this is where later on we'll have a full white paper, obviously, a tokenomics white paper on Racer Club, the R Club token, and how it's going to work. In essence, we don't really need to have an in-game rewards for R Club. We can if we want to, like maybe the jackpot rewards will be called R Clubs, later on that we reserve for it. So that's how we provide value back that way. But the main income or the main internal incoming for R Club will come from this massive marketplace, NFT marketplace. So we will then substitute or we will provide the main cross marketplace. So initially in phase 1, TGRC had their own marketplace where it sold their own NFT and showed their own stats. In the phase 3, we might have a massive marketplace like OpenSea. So we will have our own version of OpenSea where all these NFTs sit on there with the right stats, with everything to do with the Racer Club game. And we have say for example, a marginal 2.5% fee for the platform. And we also then allow, the collection, Vault collection or the title series game collection owners to have their own, you know, fee on it, on top of it as well. So it's similar to like OpenSea, where you have your 2.5% OpenSea fee and your 5%, you know, artist fee, so to speak. Okay, it will all go to that fee. That other fee will be the embedded marketplace fee of what we have here, but we will have, our club will have their own fee in there as well. Okay. And obviously all of that adds to the liquidity of our club, you know, and when we do a full tokenomics exercise of our club tokens, obviously we'll do an ICO part of it. We'll do the DAO part of it. We'll do everything. Is how we normally break it down, to go through the full investment value proposition to the entire market. Okay, so essentially that's where the major benefit of our club will come in later on. Okay, we might even introduce this earlier to do some fundraising. Okay, for the whole game. And then in essence later on we'll set up a Racer Club DAO, which will be the DAO that handles everything for Racer Club, the whole game dynamics, the dev work, the dev support structure, you know, play integration, security. I think we need to have a massive security element of it. And yeah, this could be layered on our own blockchain or layered on the ETH. Either way, we'll decide all of this accordingly. Okay, but you know, just in saying all of this here, I want to sum up, you know, my discussions today or whatever I've introduced in the white paper today. We've seen many P2E games out there play. We've seen, you know, Pegasus. We've seen Rev Racing by Animoca Brands. We've seen so many of them go out there. But we've also seen many of them drop off, you know, pretty quickly after the launch. So a lot of hype is created on the game. Really cool game demos, previews come out. The game launches. And the key thing is the players all go away, okay? And based on our assessment there on, you know, various other P2E games out there, the average, it looks like it's around probably $300 to $400 is what per month a player can earn, okay? That'll be cool for a lot of the underdeveloped countries. You still, you know, you actually earn something rather than nothing, okay? But just because I think, okay, we are able to use, remember this, we're using the same NFTs of a collection, so we're not creating new NFTs. We're using a token, which is a fractional token, so it's not going to be a massive supply token. The supply is always based on whatever's in the vault, so it's going to be very fractional. It's going to be a lot of decimals. But the point is, by using a vaulted token and an NFT that is already existing, we can then afford, or the game can actually afford, to give more rewards to the players. Okay, and based on our calculations, we've worked out that it can be roughly from the same sort of play time, the same sort of experience, the same sort of winning streaks you get. You can get between 800 to about 2,000 in total per month. Now, that is a massive substitution that borderlines not just on the underdeveloped countries, but some of the developed countries as well. Okay, so this could be a serious thing where people can actually, substitute their income or anything like that. Obviously, this is all not financial advice for anyone at all that is listening to this right now. But my point is this: we can build a massive player base that will continue to get players on, will continue to bring new people into the platform as well, and build a massive, game that starts from something as little as our own holding collection game to the cross collection, to the multi game of all the different collection owners, to a massive metaverse game which is supported by the iClub token and everything else. Okay, so guys. I'm gonna leave it out there, okay, for whoever is interested in this project. This will be on our YouTube channel, the ToastPunk YouTube channel. I hope I went through enough explanation on the white paper. This was meant to be just a walkthrough of the white paper. Coming up, obviously there'll be like some pitch decks and there'll be a few other things that if investors are interested to come on board, they can. We've seen plenty of these kind of games go out there and raise, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 million at crazy valuations. It could be this as well. It could not be this. We don't know. Either way, as I said, I'm not afraid to go out there and put this out in the marketplace. Okay, because this is us. This is what we created. We've already we've invested our initial rounds back into the community and back into the game dynamics and development work, etc. We just bought racerclub.game, so that's where are going to be our base website for it. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that there. If you got any questions, feel free to contact myself via Twitter or Discord, or even via email. I'll leave my email here for anyone who wants to send me any interest in the game, whether you want to jump on it as an investor or look further, or want me to come and present, or you could be a game dev, or you could be whatever it might be. Feel free to reach out. Okay, I'll be always open to ideas and ways how we can actually improve the Web3 space. Okay, but this is what it's about. I think this could be a blockbuster game. That's my personal opinion. Guys, if interested, contact us. Even go to the investor page. There's options there to see what to do. Go for it, and we just look forward to welcoming any of you on board. Thank you so much again for listening to today's white paper walkthrough. And guys, be safe out there. Hope everything goes well, and we'll speak soon. Okay? Thank you.